Steps in building a rod holder is to determine how much space you're going to need, and so I've laid the rods out side by side, and I can see from the very end rod I'm going to need a little clearance room. It looks like about 2 inches from the wall over to the center of the first pole, and then I'm going to get a measurement from the center of the first pole over to the next pole that'll be adjacent to it, and that looks like it's going to be about 5 inches. So then I want to put this rod holder right across the front of the console. Okay, I've got my fence picket here. It's made of cedar and resists rot pretty good, so I'm going to go ahead and get my 30-inch marked off, and then I'll cut it to length, and then I'm going to rip it lengthwise so that it's not quite that full 5.5 inches wide. Okay, I've got her cut to length at 30 inches. Now I'm going to set up and do the rip. Okay, I've got the ends rounded over a little bit. Now it's time to mark it for the centers of the poles. Board marked off for where my poles are going to go, and then I've got, I don't know, it's probably 1.5 inch hole saw drill. And I'll go ahead and cut our holes in there. Well, I'll screw these two pieces together, the back piece, the top piece, and then after I get that, I'll reach underneath and screw it into the console. Then I'll screw this front piece on here from the top. That ought to make it pretty stable. This cedar is fairly soft wood, but since it's the middle of summer and it's pretty dry, I'm going to go ahead and just pre-drill these screw holes just to ensure that the top doesn't split out. The screws I'm using to put this together are 1.5 inch coated drywall screws. So hopefully they will be able to stave off rusting for some period of time. Okay, so there is pretty much the rod holder box. I'll take this front piece off so I can go ahead and drill it, and I'll just pre-drill probably 3 screw holes here to mount this to the back of the console, or the front of the console. Okay, got the base installed now, and I'll go ahead and get to work on that top. And ripped one side of it off with the table saw, and then I've got a little strip of board that runs almost the entire length of it. And then I split with my knife. Actually, I did it on the table saw, but I split it right here, perpendicular to this rip. And then I've got 3 screws that are pre-drilled, and so I'll be able to just screw this with some 2-inch screws onto the console. I'll just mark where each cut needs to be to receive the top of the pole. Okay, that's got the top part fixed fairly well. Also, due to the height of my shed, when I backed my boat in here, I needed to be able to break my rods down, so I went ahead and put just another smaller hole so the top section of the rod could fit down into that. Okay, I've got 5 of the 6 rods installed, and what I do is just slide them down in here. I've cut a little slit that'll receive that rod, and then the top section will go into the smaller hole. Same thing, cut a little slit for it, and that should hold it in place. So, okay, there's the final installation of the rod pole holder. So anyway, thanks for watching. I hope y'all have a great summer, and tight lines to you all.